Hi everyone, it's JoJo. Welcome to my channel. This is another collab for Valentine's Day that I'm doing with Jenni, who is A to Z Crafty Crafts on YouTube, and I will leave a link to her channel below. Between her and I both being sick, we've been a little bit slow, but we're trying to get these videos out so that way you'll have several of them before Valentine's Day. I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you so much for watching. Today, I have Sherlock Holmes here, but this is just a book that I have that I love to read, and I like bookmarks, but I hate it when you get a book and somebody has dog-eared the pages, top or bottom, and it makes me cringe, because if I'm going to read a book, I like to read a nice, clean book, that's not been all dog-eared to death. And a lot of times it rips them. So I'm making these bookmarks right here. And it is Heart for Valentine's. And it just slides right up on the corner of your page. Then when you close your book, he's right there. So that way you know where you're at. No dog-eared pages. You can kind of leave it there while you read, or you can slide it on. I like to slide mine onto the top. So since I did this, you can always change where you put things on the heart, so it can go on the top. So that choice is up to you. So I'm going to lay my book aside, and I have some things already prepared. You're going to need some needles with thread, and I went ahead and threaded these. Won't promise that they won't get knotted up. I'm going to lay them here and try not to, but I didn't want to bore you all with threading my needles. And then I have some felt pieces. And the one thing about felt is sometimes it's hard to cut and get to cut good, straight, even. So what I do is I get me some parchment paper, and I cut it to the shape that I like, and then I iron it on to my piece of felt and cut around it, so that way you can use it over and over. Here's one. This is attached. I just cut it out, and then you just peel it off. And then guess what? If I want to use this, I can save it. I just, just get some of the felt fur off of it, and then just iron it onto my fabric or another piece of felt, cut around it, and then you have multiple pieces. So I have several different hearts cut out. I'm not going to do all of these today, but I just wanted to show you, and give you a tip on how to get them cut out and cut out the way that you want them to be. A lot of time with felt, your scissors can slip, and then you have nicks in it, and I don't like that, and I'm sure that most people don't either. But for the sake of this video, I want to use my white and pink. Now another thing you could do, I didn't do it, but you could decorate both sides. There's nothing on these, there's no stopping. The ideas are just endless. Now, it doesn't write on my felt, but like I said, you could do these on fabric. But I have pencils. These are pastel chalks and a dressmaker's pencil. These do not write well on my felt, but these do write well on paper or other fabrics. You just have to test them. And what I love about these, you see that almost all of them have an eraser. So if you do it on fabric, a lot of times, if you're careful, you can erase the mark from your fabric or whatever you have marked on. So I just thought I'd throw that little tip in. So I'm not drawing on these. I could draw on them with a pencil or whatever. I'm just going to try to go with it like I did this one. because if I put the pencil marks, then they're there to stay unless I want to wash it, and I really don't want to go wash it. Wash it. Um, so I think I'm going to start with a red and see how I go from here. You could put anything that you want to. You don't have to do an initial. I just did the initial because it's mine. So on this one, I think that I am going to do, let's see, trying to think of what I want to do on it. I'm going to do a letter C. So what I do is I try to picture the C on here in my mind. You could sometimes run your finger around, just get an idea of where you're going. And then I just start stitching. Make sure to knot your thread. Let me double check. Okay. So I'm just going to take some little bitty stitches. How small, how big is totally up to you. I'm going to try to make this like a little, keep getting stuck on my needles. I'm going to move them. So I'm going to just kind of go with it. There's no wrong or right. I will probably really mess up since I'm doing it for for a video and trying to do it well. That's just my luck, and I'm just doing back stitches for the letter. Just tiny little back stitches. Curves are kind of hard for me to do a little bit, and I probably don't have this even. It's not even, not even centered. But that's okay. This is just for me anyway. Gives you an idea and the gist of what you're doing. So if I off-center the letter, then I can probably do something else to make it look well. Some of this stuff, there's no mistakes. The only mistake, it may not be what you intended, so it may be a happy accident. Just because it doesn't go as you intend doesn't mean that somebody else won't like it or that it won't end up growing on you. A lot of things that I do, purposely make mistakes. That's just because that's from my culture. That's just the way that my family has always done things when we make something. Normally one little flaw in there that only we know about. So I'm just continuing with my little stitches. Now once, see, my thread is starting to curl. So I'm going to hold my piece in the air and let my needle dangle. Sometimes I give it a little twist, just to get some of that curl out of it, because that curl leads to knots. C, the letter C, my nickname by Gramps is Charlie. Charlie is also my brother's. His name's Charles. So just kind of seems weird that Gramps, back around 2015, somewhere in there, he started just calling me Charlie out of the blue. Have no idea why, but it's okay. And C is also for my fiance's name. His name is Craig. So, and the C is a wonky C. That's okay. Craig's kind of wonky. Shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him I said that. Jenni knows. She's met him on our video chats. He's a dork. I hope everybody here is doing well. Like I said, this is going to be the wonkiest C I've probably ever done. I'm holding this away from me, so it's harder to do than if I just could hold it closer to where I could see it better. But, you know, back in the day, things ended up being wonky anyway because they didn't have what we have. And most things were hand done, and a lot of things were done in a hurry because the women just didn't have time. Didn't have time just to sit and I'll straighten that piece out just a little bit. So I'm going to end my C here. I know it's funny looking, but it's okay. By the time I get it done, it'll probably look kind of cute, maybe. I thought my J was going to turn out funky, but I think my little flower up there. So what I do here is I just go turn it over and I put my needle under the back and I pull it through, and then I find a loop before it closes off and I pull it through that loop and pull it tight, and I do that like twice. So there I have my knot, and I'm going to clip my thread. One more little thing that I do, since this will be sliding on and off the page, I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put just a little dot right there on my knot. Maybe I will. And then on my starter knot, I'm going to do the same thing. You don't have to do this step. It's just what I like to do. It gives it a little bit extra hold, and it lays that thread flat so it's not getting caught. So I think I like my flower. For a guy, they probably won't like a flower, but I'll do this one like I'm doing it for myself as Charlie. So I took and I got my yellow needle. Let me find it here. I've got my threads kind of tangled. So I've got my yellow needle here. Knot your back, not your end. When I do a knot, I put it in my finger and I pull the edge around. I just twist it and pull. And I end up with a nice knot. It's not going to come out. And I just take my scissors and I clip the end of it off. Now you could glue your knot if you want to. I like just to wait till the end when I'm finished. So I try to straighten my thread out, and I like to hold it upside down too and let that needle dangle, because you've seen how my thread was all tangled up. So when I come in here, I'm just going to get me a little point to where I want to come in at. And I do, I think it's called the start of like a daisy chain. It's a flower stitch. So where I come out at, I'm going to go right back down next to that hole. And then I'm going to find me a spot to come up oh, it's like maybe an eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch away from where I went in. I went in and came out at the same spot. So then when I do this, I wait till I get just a little hoop and I pull it up, and then I pull this loosely. And then I go right back down. Let's see if I can get this. See, here's my loop, and I'm coming up through here, and I'm going to go right back down behind where I came up, so that way I grab that loop. And I don't want to pull it too tight. On this one here, I pulled it really tight, but that's how I wanted it. So you can pull tight or loose. And then I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to come right up, right next to where my stitch went down. I don't know, it's hard to get it to come in focus. But I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go right down right next to my thread. And then I'm going to go about like a quarter inch of away, but it's even with this one over here. I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to, I want to straighten that out a little bit, but I'm going to grab that loop, and I'm going to pull like this, and I'm going to go right back down right at top. See, I have two little flower petals. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go right next to our starting stitches. Then I'm going to go down right next to them. And then I'm going to find my spot right up here that I want to come through. And I'm going to go through the loop again. That one went a little bit larger, but pull it easy. So there I have three little petals. So I think that that's all the petals I'm going to do, but I'm going to come back up almost where I was at here, and I'm going to stitch over to the other edge. I want to just kind of finish this up a little bit, so that puts me a line across. I'm going to bring my thread up like between those two and that line. I'm just right there by them or between them. Then I'm going to wrap my needle twice. 3 times is what I did. And I'm going to go right back down in the same spot. I'm going to pull my thread that's wrapped around the needle tight. And I'm going to push my needle through, and I'm going to hold on to all that while I pull the thread, so I have a little French knot right there. And I'm going to go back in next to that knot, and I'm going to do it again. I wrap my thread 3 times. Sorry if you can't see. I'm really trying. It's hard to work so far away from myself. And then I'm going to go right back down in there. I'm going to pull this thread here that's wrapped around the needle tight. And whenever I pull the needle through, I'm going to hold all of it and just pull this so I get me another French knot. So there is my little flower. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to go under going to go under my threads here, and then I'm going to go through the loop so I make a knot, and I'm going to do that 2 more times just so that way it's secure. Like I said, you can make these as simple or as elaborate as you want to. I'm just kind of giving you an idea. And I didn't want to make it a real long video for you. Most of you probably know how to embroider. I do a lot of things freehand. So I'm just going to rub that in again with that glue. You don't have to do this step. It's just something that I do on this because it's going to be sliding in and off of the pocket. I've got me some green thread here. I use DMC embroidery floss, and I use 2 strands. Or you could take just 1 strand off of it and fold it in half. So now I'm going to kind of do a stem stitch, and I want to start where my just right there, like in the center. Might be nice if I knot it, huh? Sorry about that. Sometimes my fingers get in my own way. Just clipping the end off of it. I keep a little trash bag hanging beside me, so that way I can try to keep things off the floor. Okay, so I'm going to go up through that center area, and then I'm just going to go down, not take a very big bite, but I'm just going to go down a little ways. And then when I get a loop like this, I want to come back up in the center here, and I want to catch the center of my loop. I want my thread, if I can, to go through the center of this loop. Ah, there we go. I'll mess it all up. Probably make a knot now. Okay, there we did. And then I'm going to go down again. And when I come back up through the middle of where, under here, it's the middle. And then I like to come back up through that loop. Catch, catch a thread. So that way it's a stem stitch. And then now I'm going to try to curve away from my C a little bit. See, I didn't go there, so I'm going to go in between. Go in between the stitch. I'm going to curve this way. Because, no stem is completely straight. Not normally. Most of things in wildlife grow kind of weird and wonky too. Okay, so I'm going to go on back down. And I have my stem made. So to do my leaf, I'm going to come back up about midways, and I'm going to go back in right next to where I came out at. And then I'm going to do what I did a while ago. I'm going to come up about I'm going to say it's a rough 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to catch my loop. And I'm just going to pull it lightly and go back down. And I'm going to come up a little ways on the other side of the stem. And I'm going to go back down next to it. And I'm going to come up over here about a 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to catch this trying to straighten it out a little bit, but I'm going to catch that loop, and I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to go out next to it. And I have my little flower. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to catch it underneath one of the threads closest to it. I'm going to pull it all the way through until I get to the loop, put it through the loop, and pull. And I like to hold on it when I pull, so that way I'm not tearing it up or pulling it out, but it pulls it tight. And I normally do that 3 times just to be careful, just to make sure. I don't want to go through all this and then it fall apart. Clip my thread off, and then I'm going to now I didn't clip as close as I'd like to right there. I want to stay out of the glue, but and then I just push it down with my glue. So we could be finished there, but yeah, I think I'm going to leave it just like that. This time I'm going to use a pink. Normally, see on this one here, I used a white for my back, but this time I'm going to use a pink. Now you could decorate this side as well if you'd like. But I'm going to go with some pink thread. I'm going to put my knot. I just wrap it around my finger, push my end of my thread around, and then pull. Just makes a quick, easy knot for me. And I'm going to do a blanket stitch. Now, wherever you do your blanket stitch, that's where it's going to hook on your page. So I'm going to go in, instead of going in from the bottom here, I don't want my knot showing. So I'm going to go in to my white one, just my white one. And I'm going to pull all the way through, and that'll tuck the knot behind it. I just dropped my scissors. Sorry about that. So I'm going to get this as even as I can. Now I'm going to overlap it, come back up from the bottom, right next or into that same stitch. Now when you get it pulled, I go through the loop, just put it through the loop, and I pull it to me, and then I go down next to it, 1/8 of an inch or so away, and I pull it through, and I grab my thread. Then I come back up through the bottom. I grab that loop. Come back up through the bottom. Now you want to make sure that you do, you know, my little stitches are about 1/4 of an inch or so. And they're about, I don't know if 1/4 of an inch, but they're a little ways apart. So, look at me get a knot. It happens. Okay, got it out. So I go back up through my loop and I pull it. Then I come back up through the bottom. When I get to where I have my loop at, I want to make sure it's not twisted and pull it through. And this is basically what you do all the way around it. I hope that you guys can see me good. I really, really want to get me another camera and get my setup different. It's what I've been working on. I did upgrade from last year to a different camera, so it works better. I would use my phone, but I get too many phone calls. I have a lot of responsibility with my adult kids, and Gramps is a handful. So I don't complain. I'm not complaining. I just eventually hope to get a better setup. Sorry about that. It's going to ring on my computer for a minute. But this is, I call it the blanket stitch. I think that's what it is. I may do mine different than the way it's originally done, but I like this. And I like that this stitch sits right on my, I can't get my camera to focus real good. See if that, it just sits right there on the edge. I need a piece of paper here. But it sits right on the edge of it. It doesn't overhang or go front to back. It sits right in the middle. And I like that part of it. So whenever you get to where that you think that you're halfway, which where I'm at right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one extra bite. I'm going to go in to the same spot and come out in the front at the same. And I'm going to grab that loop again, and I'm going to pull. And then I'm going to kind of open this a little bit. And if you're careful, you can see that little stitch right there. So I'm going to go under that stitch, and I'm going to pull this through till I have a loop. Everything's about loops with this with me. And I'm going to pull that loop tight. And I'm going to do that one more time. Sorry, I lied. 2 more times. I just want to make sure that it's not going to come undone. Better be safe than sorry, right? So then I'm going to clip that thread. And I'm going to take my handy dandy glue. I'm going to put a little dot right there. Now, like I said, that is a step that you don't have to do, but I do it on these. So, get my book back over here. And it slides right there. So that way, reading a book, you want to save your place. Or you want to put it in your junk journal. I think these would be great in the junk journals. I think they would even make a cute little corner tuck, you know, in the corner of your book or little pocket. You could sew it up just a little bit more, make it into a pocket, and it's thin. So, I mean, it does give my book a little bit of bulk, but not a lot. And I really like these, and they're fun to make. So I hope that you like my video. Please click the like button and subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification bell so you'll be notified when I come up with another video. I will be back tomorrow probably with another video. We're going to try to get these. I'm covering for Jen now. She covered for me. So we'll see what we can get done. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Happy Valentine's Day, and remember to be kind to one another. Bye-bye.